Today we welcome Debbie. Like many of us, she wears many different hats. Like some of us, she also underwent many career pivots. Was it all just confidence or courage to get her where she's at right now? Or is it something completely different? Let's embark on the journey of Soft Power Project. Welcome to the Soft Power Project, a podcast that journals the story of women as they navigate their own transformations. I'm Sherry, a certified coach and your host. In my mid-30s, I made the bold decision to reinvent my life. Now in my 40s, I'm sharing that journey along with the stories of women who inspire me. Like you, we're embracing growth to become our highest selves. Let's celebrate the power of self-exploration, one story at a time. Hi everyone, welcome to the first episode of Soft Power Project. And I have a very, very special guest here with me, Debbie. And Debbie, I would say she's a woman of many, many hats. And if you look at her profile on LinkedIn, you'll notice that she has a very interesting career path. She was a VP at Goldman Sachs for years. Then she became a new mom and stay-home mom for years. Then she became a manager at Sunday Riley, which is a very famous skincare brand in the States. And now she's a CEO and founder of MYMIKA. Hi, Debbie.
Hi, Sherry.
Thank you so much for coming here today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so I was just talking about, your many, many career pivots. And, I've also had a lot of career pivots, which is we spoke about during our chats before the podcast. But when I think about career pivots, I think it's less about, let's say, submitting resume or think about what to say in an interview. It's more about like reinventing yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then re-identifying yourself.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think that's completely right. When I was young, growing up, going to school, people always ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? You struggle or you kind of have an answer. Maybe you want to be a doctor. Maybe I want to be a scientist, all these things. Now that I've had a few years under my belt, a few career changes, I don't like that question. I think there's no set career or identity that a person should have. We're all complex individuals and we all have many different parts of our identity that we tap into here and there. So when I think back and look at my career, I'm actually quite proud and happy of all the different pivots I've had. I don't regret any of them because each experience has given me much more than I had expected from it and has even added to my career thereafter. So finance taught me resilience. I met a lot of people who are way smarter than I am. I learned about structure. I learned hard and soft skills both. Being a stay-at-home mom made me appreciate the difficulties that women go through, made me tap into myself as a woman, as a mother, all the different identities, the struggles that came there, taught me a little bit about empathy, just, what do I want to leave as my legacy? Marketing was fun, at Sunday Riley. Completely different skill set, completely different groups of people that I work with. I loved the dynamic. It was also a startup dynamic, and it actually tapped in and gave me this, I guess, fire under my belt. Like, hey, maybe I want to explore this, kind of entrepreneur path. And, now I'm here. I think all the skill sets that I've learned, that I've gained, all the experiences that I've had are all additive and very proud of them all.
Absolutely. I'm just really curious as to how do you go from the finance world, this glamorous finance world? I mean, you were at Goldman Sachs. That's like the dream job, right? You get in New York City. Going from that to stay-home mom, from suits to puke.
Yeah. Oh, man. And actually, you're spot on. It suits really to puke because I had a child that spat up a lot. I have to say it's hard. It's very hard. I actually really loved my job at Goldman.
Mm.
It was really time consuming. It was really taxing. I had one child already and worked through it. It was with the birth of my second child, he was an unexpected premature birth that caused me to take a pause and say, hey, maybe I need to take some time off. And so a little bit of it, yes, I had thought about maybe taking a break after having my second child, but the suddenness of it was quite a shock to my system. I have to say, I went through a pretty dark period, I think, from somebody who wore nice things to work, who, when I spoke up, people, listened, or at least I saw milestone. When I achieved milestones, or when I, kind of did something great, I got a pat on my back. With raising a child, no one's giving you a pat on the back for cleaning up puke, or taking your child to all the different, pediatrician doctors on time and all that stuff. You don't get that right away. So I think I struggled a lot in the beginning. The identity crisis. What am I doing? Who am I? Like, I all of a sudden am now like, I feel like a useless human being. Even though, yes, you're raising a child, it's very important. But on a day-to-day, if you're just washing dishes, cleaning puke, cleaning yourself, it was very, very hard. But, when I look back now, I wouldn't trade that for anything. I really wouldn't. Not just because of the standard, like, I have a child. I love him dearly and I'm raising children. But also for, I think, the empathy that comes with it, the understanding of what working moms or stay-at-home moms or all different types of moms go through. It's made my life richer. I've been able to connect with more people. I remember there was a time where I had my daughter, my firstborn. She was full-term, healthy baby girl. I had a day off. I took her to, a class, one of those like mommy and me classes. And we met somebody that Olivia was playing with. And the mom was like, immediately was like, oh, but they're the same age, but she's premature and, and all that. And I remember thinking like, so like, why are you volunteering that information right away? I didn't even think of that. But I went through this thereafter I went through it, myself, and I realized, oh, she's probably concerned because her child's that much smaller than everybody else. Or, all these things that you start thinking of ahead of time. I started, like, that experience made me realize that everybody goes through something.
Yeah.
And at least for a motherhood standpoint and the problems that people have or experience, I started thinking about that more and I started relating to that more, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think so. I think you mentioned the word empathy, right? And I have to wholeheartedly agree with that. As growing up, I always thought of myself as like, I'm a kind person. I'm a friendly person. I have empathy. But then, and then you have the kid.
Yeah.
And then you actually needed to, I think the hardest thing is that you need to have empathy even though no one's watching.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Even though you have to have the positivity or have the light within you, even though it's dark. I think that's the hardest thing.
It's so hard.
Because no one's telling you that, good job, right?
Yeah.
Or, wow, you're so kind. No one's telling you that.
Yeah. It's really hard. And I think all the kindest people or the people who have the most empathy are the ones who experience that dark time themselves because they understand.
Yeah.
And so I have to say, that was a dark time for me. I questioned every decision I made. There probably were some hormonal situations going on too, being a new mom and a mom that now all of a sudden has a kid that needs a lot more than a healthy newborn that I pictured would be so picture perfect, beautiful.
Right.
And honestly was my experience with my first one.
Right.
So, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, absolutely. I think it brings me back to the time where I had my daughter and then the time, basically I brought her home, but my mom immediately had to go to hospital. Because she was supposed to, help me and cook me food and stuff like that. But she had to go to hospital because she was ill. So I think it's that I think it's that drastic change and
Mhm.
you're so unprepared. And exactly what you said, that image in your head, what a new mom is supposed to look like with the
Yeah.
glow. And, so many people on social media will be posting like morning routine with the baby, like waking up with ample time to make your own breakfast
Yeah.
and like washing your face for that
Mhm.
matter.
Mhm.
I didn't get that. I'm sure that was like probably the last thing you think about.
Yeah. Yeah. I read somewhere that, happiness equals your experience minus your expectation or something. I'm probably butchering this equation. But
Okay.
the key is this expectation
Mm,
that we have, right? Whether it's something that predetermined from our childhood or like you said, I mean, social media, there's so many great things about it, but at the same time, there's also things that might perhaps set expectations for you that, other people are having such a picture perfect life, such a picture perfect experience, and why am I not experiencing that? It all comes from expectation, and perhaps that's something that we need to adjust internally ourselves.
What do you think that got you through that dark time? Like, what had helped you?
Probably just family,
Mm.
people around me, people who are able to endure me, because I'm the first to admit, I know that I was not easy to be around at that time, just because I wasn't a happy person. But, and just time. I think something that I've learned through that is that everything is temporary. Your darkest times are temporary. Your highest times are also temporary.
Yeah.
So I think with that experience, I would say, yeah, it's my lowest experience kind of period of my life. Now, whenever I experience something hard or just difficult for me, some annoyance, I just remind myself everything is temporary. With time, of course, you can just sit back and do nothing, but just with time and hope and effort, things will turn around. And yeah, and then before you know it, a new chapter or a new journey will happen.
That's very true. And I think that's what builds character, right? You kind of needed that. You needed to drop all the ego. And I think that's one thing. Being a mom, especially stay-home mom, or just a mom,
Yeah.
ego
Oh,
goes
no.
away.
Yeah, I know. No one cares what you used to do.
No.
What your new outfit or how smart you are. I think the kid doesn't care.
No. And it was so funny because during that time, and I guess it was a time where people were like, breast milk is the best.
Yeah.
And I mean, for me, I had a little bit of a hard time to do that, to execute that.
Yeah.
And then you get these like strangers, men, come up to me and be
Yeah.
like, "Are you feeding her breast milk?"
Oh my God.
I'm like, just like, what?
That is so intrusive.
I know, exactly. It's like, so what if I say yes? How is that going to make any difference for you? Yeah, they're like, yeah, because baby will be smarter and stronger. I'm like, oh my God, please mind your business.
Yeah.
By the time it's just like, it's really funny because it's like, I got to drop my ego. And sometimes you learn how to like set boundaries because that's the time I'm like, nope,
Yeah.
you don't say that to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think family, as you said, we're just having a good support system is really important. I think at the time I felt very alone. Because it's a very lonely journey, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like no matter what, you still needed to clean up the puke yourself and everything else and make the food and deal with all that. But I think, like you said, having a support system, that's really one of the most important things.
100%.
And then I know that later on you kind of got yourself into a position at Sunday Riley. And you told me the story, which I think is so amazing. I love it that you can tell the audience that story.
Yeah. So Sunday Riley, that experience, how I got it was quite funny. I was on a date with my husband. We went to this like movie theater, shopping complex and all that. We were parking and I had been using Sunday Riley already, but I noticed that her parking spot and her employee parking spots are there, which meant that her office is there. I had also seen kind of online, whether it's through her social media or LinkedIn, I don't remember,
Mm-hmm.
that they were looking to expand and they were looking for people. So I went home, I brushed up my resume, wrote a cover letter, and I just decided to drive to the office and just walk in with no idea like what really position I was hiring. I was applying for. I think at that time Ben was older. I had been a stay-at-home mom for a bit, and he was starting to go to preschool. I was ready, and I have to say a little bit of myself was just desperate to gain my identity back and do something different. So I literally went into the office and I was like, okay, I parked and I walked in. And coming from Goldman, big firm, big corporation, you expect to just go in. There's a receptionist, and you just give your resume to the receptionist. You don't have to see anyone. And you just, okay, and then bye, here's my resume. Please pass it along to somebody. And then you leave, right? So that's what I expected. It was not that way. I went in. It was one of those open floor plans. Everyone was just, sitting there, and literally all the heads turned to me. And I was so I was like, I froze, and I was like, oh no. So I went to the closest desk, and the person was like, can I help you? I'm like, well, so I would like a job at Sunday Riley. Here's my resume. I just thought I'd pop by and pass it. And I don't know, time would have it, luck would have it, whatever it is. Sunday herself. So the founder is called Sunday. Her name is Sunday Riley. Sunday herself walked by and she was like, oh, like I happen to have like some time. Do you want to meet now? And I guess, so we met for hours, and the rest is history. Because that's how I got back into the workforce.
That is one of the best stories. I mean, what was the very moment that you decided, all right, I know where they are.
Yeah.
Let me go home and just type up my resume and then refresh a little bit. Like, what was that moment in your head, that light bulb in your head?
Oh, I don't know. I think it came from really desperation. Like I was looking for a new chapter to open.
Okay.
And actually I had always been interested in, the marketing aspect of it. I loved skincare. I was following her already. I think just all the things that clicked at the same time. Yeah. I just said, honestly, why not? Like, I know my background is in finance. That's not, that part of my resume will really not fit maybe in what she's looking for, but what am I to lose? I get a rejection, fine. I'll never see them again. I guess is what I thought to myself. And fine, I'll go back to what I've been living, and I'll find something else. But I just said, screw it. I almost said a bad word.
Yeah, it's totally fine.
But yeah, I'm just gonna give it a shot.
I think it's that conviction you have, and just go, why not? Right? I like that. Why not?
I wouldn't even say it's conviction. I don't think I was filled with confidence. Like, hell yeah, I'm gonna get it. I think it's knowing that I had this fear that, and I know I'm going out of my comfort zone. I have massive imposter syndrome, but I'm still gonna do it and see what happens. I think it's that. It's not that I walked in like, you guys are lucky to have me, I think it's the other way. It's like, I know that I have no experience in marketing, which is like, I guess what I ended up getting, marketing and PR. But I also know that I will try the hardest. I am a fast learner, and if you just give me a shot, let me prove it to you guys.
I love that. And I think a lot of times in this society and a lot of podcasts where, whatever motivation speech that you have, it's like, oh, how do you be confident and raise your value? I mean, yes, I think that's important, but confidence actually comes with a lot of practice as well.
Yes.
And don't expect yourself to just do a job and feel completely capable first day, because chances are you're not, and it's okay.
I think exactly like what you said. You can't force confidence. I think it comes from experience. It comes from doing things and proving to yourself that you can achieve things. That is what has given me confidence through the years. I think now that I am a little older, I am more willing to take more risks, which might be counterintuitive because, well, I guess, yes, for career-wise I am, but like I don't do roller coaster rides anymore. I'm so scared of those. I used to be more risky in that sense. But for career-wise, I think because I have proven to myself that despite, I don't know, the fears that I have, the questions that I ask myself internally, it never goes away, like imposter, like, why you, all these things. But because I've had experience or have kind of points in my life where I've proven myself wrong, I almost have, I guess, a louder voice now in my head that says, okay, you have these examples where you have proven yourself wrong. So what's different now? When I start having those questionable doubt in my head. And I think that has given me a little bit more confidence in being able to push myself through things. And I think that's part of aging, That, I guess that's what I love about aging, I think, versus being young and a lot of insecurities without anything under my belt.
Would you say you have a very positive point of view on aging?
Yeah, I think so. I am more optimistic and excited about aging than I am scared of it. I'm scared because of health reasons, because of the fact that, we are in a sandwich generation, right? We have young kids to take care of. We have older parents and family members, grandparents to take care of. And the aging part that scares me is the fact that our loved ones are getting older. But for us in particular, as long as we remain healthy and capable, I think this aging cycle actually quite excites me because that means I'll have more time and more time to gather more experiences under my belt, try more experiments, and prove to myself more and more that I can push myself out of my comfort zone and do things. So, yeah, this aging part actually quite excites me.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. But that's not how I felt before when I was in my early 30s.
No.
I would be like, holy crap, 40. That's the end.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I am like that too. And which is why I think I like our stage now more.
I do too.
So I think before I was a lot more self-centered, a lot more, insecure, self-centered, all the things, and thinking like the world is going to end as you get older, or I'm unable to put myself in other people's shoes. But I think with age, with experience, I've been able to learn a lot more. And I realize how much I don't know. And that actually makes me very excited to grow and learn. Whereas before, being the more self-centered, like 20s, and it's like, I've got so much to give. I work at Goldman Sachs,
Yeah.
Like that part, now that I think about it, I'm like, oh, it's so embarrassing.
Oh my God. I remember I was sitting at a dinner table. It was kind of like communal table, like you get to hear people's conversation, which is kind of annoying. You just hear this like young man trying to impress his date, and he's just like, I do this and I can do that. I'm just like, wow, was I that obnoxious back in that day?
It's part of life. We all have to do that. We all have to go through that and just be obnoxious, be embarrassing, make mistakes, be dumb, and then look back and be embarrassed at our old self,
And it's so true. When it comes to aging, I do weirdly feel like, especially for women in the 40s, this is our prime year. This is really where we have a lot of experience under our belt. I mean, whether we choose to be a mom or not, I think we still learn how to take care of a lot of people. Like you
Yeah.
said, we're the sandwich.
We're the sandwich.
We have to take care of older parents, grandparents, if they're still alive, and families and kids and nephew and nieces and all that. So learning how to take care of people give us a lot of empathy, like you said, and patience. And then we just have more patience for ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think in process of learning to take care of people around us, most women neglect ourselves. And I think this is the time where you start learning to love to be by yourself, loving yourself. You know, maybe it's whether you're in a relationship or not, but just loving to be by yourself, loving yourself, appreciating who you are. I think that's something I've come to love. And I think it didn't come when I was young. It came with age. And I think I believe that it'll only get better with that.
Yeah. As women, we struggle a lot with taking care of people. It's kind of like a society standard where we have to take care of people. We need to be more patient and soft and warm. But at the same time, with our Asian kind of background, with our roots, that's even more of a pressure to do so. Right?
Okay. I actually don't give myself that pressure. So I think if I understand you correctly, there's a lot, I think times are changing. More and more women are stepping out and, you know, making a name for themselves, working, becoming more educated. We are no longer, I think, societally, culturally, I think, yes, maybe the Asian culture is slower to change than the Western culture. The expectation for women being the caregiver, being the home kind of person is still much stronger. And also the expectation for women to be softer and to be, you know, just, I hesitate to use this word, but like weaker seeming than their masculine, you know, male counterparts, all of that. So I guess I'm trying to get to the point where I think sometimes I've read rhetoric or seen, you know, a strong woman who's a CEO or a business, whatever, person, and just being strong and being very alpha and all that. I applaud them for it. I think that's, you know, takes a lot of courage to stand up against the grain or what culture expectations are, and I look up to them. But I also think that you can be a leader or a multitasker, a mom and a leader of an organization, or just somebody who has an amazing career. Being yourself, being a soft person. I think that's actually our superpower too. Just because we're sandwiched, we are mothers or not mothers, but we have, you know, older parents to take care of. That's traditionally been put on us. We just tend to be more sensitive. I think that empathy part or just that sensitive part is actually a superpower. You know, in terms of, and I'm thinking, say, like, you know, in our age, you probably are more experienced. You are maybe managing people, or you will manage people in the future, learning to work with different types of people, just understanding them, right? What is their work language? How do you coexist? How do you help someone? Or maybe how do you mentor someone? All of that stuff. It comes with being somebody who's sensitive too. You know, I think that's a major pro. So, I mean, whatever it is that you have, whether it be just you grew up culturally being expected to be softer, or, you know, the caregiver and all that, I think that could be channeled into a superpower as well. If now, yes, that's who you are, but you want to be a business person as well. Or it doesn't have to be business. You want to show your children a different side of you, or, you know, lead in a different way, or some, you know, volunteer, all of that stuff. You can spin anything. It's just your perspective. You can spin anything into a positive thing. There's no need to be like wallow and say, oh, we're disadvantaged because of culturally our situation or whatever. I truly believe that you just have to look at it a different way and spin whatever you have into a superpower.
Yeah. I love how you mentioned that because, I mean, this is exactly what I want to achieve from this podcast, right? It's just that women have so many different sides.
Mm-hmm.
And when you talk about the alpha side, I mean, immediately I thought about financial world.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely tried. Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, and this is, I guess, the difference between 20-something Debbie and now 40.
Mhm.
I tried so hard to cover up who I really am.
Mm.
I have an alpha side to me,
Yeah.
but I definitely overcompensated because I was surrounded by a lot of men.
Mm.
I was the only Asian woman at that time, the only Asian woman in that group, and naturally smaller than
Yeah.
people physically,
Yeah.
right? And so a lot of this, how do I take up more space? And it all came from a place of insecurity too, right?
Yeah.
I want them to see me as a strong person. How do I do that? I definitely went through that. And I'm happy I went through that because I think I learned some things. I actually would say that I would go back and I might not I might not do anything differently. You know, I don't really believe in regret either because I think everything that you go through teaches you something else.
Yeah. Well, I think in that environment, I mean, especially that type of work and structure was built by men, the very masculine alpha type of men. But I think I definitely had to go through that, dress like men, like wearing suits. And I have to wear heels because I'm petite. And obviously when you're in the States, everyone's so much taller.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my God, I just want to be seen.
Yeah.
How do I talk? How do I present? How do I project myself? My voice is too soft. I have to be harder, right? I had to go through all of that. But I think, like you said, with age and with experience, I think we just start to we don't need those things anymore.
Yeah.
We put it down. Like we take off the mask. We take off all these armor that we have on ourselves and then like see just, hey, if I'm just me, what can I do?
Yeah.
So I think you were talking about leadership earlier. I mean, what kind of leader do you think you are?
Oh, that's a tough question. I don't know. You should ask people who work with me.
Well, what kind of leader do you aspire to be?
I aspire to be someone who is inspirational. I aspire to be someone who I don't aspire to be because I know I'm not the smartest one. I aspire to be someone who is always learning though, and who works hard to achieve whatever it is that the team's vision is, to be resilient and resourceful. I think I want to be a leader who can inspire and show others that with, I guess, a little bit of wit, resilience, and just persistence, you can achieve anything. And I think that's the kind of leader I want to be.
Yeah. No, I can definitely tell because you are a very resilient individual. I think that comes out very, very easily.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, how does that resilience take you from having, wearing so many different hats and now you're creating your own company?
First of all, it's been a super exciting journey. I think this is the path that I am the most excited about, the career choice that I am the most excited about. And I think it's always been brewing. We didn't talk about this, but my family background is in textiles. That's when my grandparents started a company, a textile manufacturing company. I grew up in factories, literally. Both my grandmas were seamstresses, and I saw them make clothing from scratch. I learned the value of how hard it is to construct something, value of good material, all of that stuff. I think that's always been in my blood. And even as I went abroad to study, went abroad to work, and stayed abroad because of family and all that stuff, it's always been in my blood. I've always listened to kind of the evolution of the family business through the years. So MYMIKA, it is, the vision is to create a circular fashion platform and to encourage people to value good clothing, to value your own clothing, and to have more of a mindful consumption kind of attitude. And how did that come about? I think the reason why I mentioned my childhood upbringing is that I think it's through the years we saw how the rise of fast fashion, social media hauls, all those trends getting shorter and shorter, how that's affected the family business on a more personal level, but also just in general, kind of how wasteful the consumer has been. And so this next journey that I'm on, I'm very passionate about it because it's very personal. Because I saw how hurtful it is to the family business. We start giving up good quality construction and good quality material for faster trend cycles to meet deadlines. The margins get cut, people lose their jobs. It's hard. I know that you cannot turn back time or you can't change. So how do you look forward? And how do you create a technology or some kind of platform that fits the current kind of lifestyle, but does it for good? That's the new mission that we're on. I don't know if I answered your question, but yeah, I'm super excited about this next part of my journey.
No, I just love it. Whenever you talk about MYMIKA, you just have this biggest smile on your face and you look so proud of it. And I think you should be really, really proud of it. And I know that we were talking prior and you said that you didn't really want it to emphasize too much on the sustainability aspect of it, right?
Yeah. Okay, so sustainability is the value and the vision, is the reason why I started MYMIKA. But I don't think that to make consumers change their behavior and or to just create something that's fun and engaging, I don't think over talking about sustainability or even, some people go as far as guilting the consumer about like, hey, you do these hauls, look at how much you've wasted, like all these things, and like the fear factor of it all. I think a little bit of it is useful. The knowledge of it is useful, but I don't think that will change consumer behavior. So rather with MYMIKA, our vision, and we'd love to create something that utilizes, how much people love social media for the community reason, right? Utilizes the fun factor of it all. We love fashion because it helps us express ourselves. We love to post about, our daily outfits and how we creatively construct this outfit versus that. Let's still do that, but with what's already in your closet or with, things that you add to your closet but have great cost value or, cost per wear value is what I meant. Like, that you have great utility out of. Like, let's play the game that the current consumer already loves to do. But, lightly encourage them to kind of just be a little more mindful.
I love that. And I really like the fact that you put a lot of emphasis on the sense of community, right? Because on the website, you definitely talked about, you can shop your own closet, your friend's closet, your neighbor's closet. Is that sense of community that you wanted to bring. And I think that is a concept that when we think about sustainability, I think a lot of fashion brands are trying to, whether you want to call it greenwashing or not. They say, you plant a tree if you buy this. And it's like a marketing technique at this point. But when it comes to the sense of community and building that community and loving good quality clothing, I feel like that is really what you're trying to bring.
I think you cannot go away with community with fashion. Just because, if you think about it growing up, right? I used to love going to 夜市 with my girlfriends or like just anywhere shopping wise. And I like to be like, even if I'm alone, maybe I'll text my best friend and with like this outfit, like, what do you think? Or, or you kind of lean on each other. That's the sense of community I think we should preserve. With e-commerce and everything, everyone's shopping by themselves on their website, which I like to do is convenient. But how do we create something where you can still check in with your friends or just your close-knit community, share that, and have this, kind of exploratory community platform for people to use? Instagram, Pinterest, TikTok, they're great places for that. And I think we just want to take what's working for them and put it into a resale/rental kind of community, where things just kind of circulate around and around. That would be the best outcome of MYMIKA.
And I love it how you mentioned the kind of the experience. Like I remember younger who would go to I don't know what retail store. It's so bad to mention that name now, Forever 21, because it's so fast fashion. But I think it's more about the experience itself, right? Going with your friends, trying things on in the fitting room, and like come out and be like, oh, I like that one. Let's swap. Right? It's that experience.
It's that experience, is that idea where to create a community where you and your friends can still do that online. And also share, right? Like swap and share. If you have a sister, like you steal each other's closets and kind of all of that, I feel like that's less so from now. And I would love to create a community where you can do that. Maybe there's just one event that you need to go to. It's a wedding. You don't want to purchase something just for that one thing. Maybe there's somebody in the community where you can borrow from, or where you can maybe buy a pre-loved one so that you save some money, but it's in great condition and it's good. Like, still brings that much joy, Again, we're not mentioning anything about sustainability. In fact, actually, you're saving money and you're making a connection at the same time. But bonus, it's good for the environment.
That's the bonus itself. Yeah. No, I'm going through the same thing too. Like, I have a wedding on the weekends and I'm like, oh, do I have to buy something just for that wedding? It doesn't seem like a very wise investment. But at the same time, it's like, I want something new, right? Because I think not just women, I think everyone's like, they want something new. But at the same time, it's like, do you actually need it to spend all that money to buy just that one dress? Right? I mean, I absolutely loved the concept. And of course, we'll put all the information in the description box and the show notes, talk about MYMIKA. I know that you have a lot of really exciting things coming up, right, in 2025.
Yes.
Yeah. Would you like to share a little bit, or is that going to be like an industry secret?
No industry secret at all. We are... So, we talked about this resale platform. We talked about kind of wearing what you already have, all of that. All of that starts with your personal closet, right? So we are in the process of building kind of an interactive digital closet platform. So you can easily now track and have your entire closet on your phone, That's a tool that we're building right now. So hopefully very soon, I'll be able to share that with you and have you test it out too.
Yeah, I will love that. It reminds me of Clueless.
Yeah, actually, that is the idea. That it's that scene where she gets to press a button and have it construct your outfit.
Yes,
like all your clothes are in a computer. That is the North Star. That is what sparked the idea.
Yeah, I think that's a dream for every single teenager.
Yeah, right? Well, okay, teenagers now probably don't know what Clueless is.
True. That's true. That is so sad. They did remake it, so I'm hoping
they
do.
Oh, I haven't seen the remake version.
Wait, did they remake it?
I don't know.
Because they're remaking now 2.0, so I'm like assuming. But yeah, I mean, okay. Before the end of the show, I just have one question to ask you. And I'm trying to pick out from like 5 different questions, but I'll just ask you one thing. So if you were to rate your life on a scale of 1 to 10, what would it be? And how would you take it to the next level?
That's so hard. It would probably definitely above average, maybe like an 8. I am an optimist. I love my life now. I believe good things are coming. Generally, I am a positive person. I don't think I will ever reach a 10. And I don't think I ever want to reach a 10.
Interesting.
Why? Because if you reach 10, then what's the purpose of life? What are you achieving then? Right? I think what makes me happy is because I have things that I am working towards. And I constantly have things that I'm working towards. I constantly have a purpose. If I reach it and I have nothing else, I think that would scare me. I think that would cause me to be more sad and upset and ironically drop to a 0.
No.
So yeah, I am at an 8. And I would like for it to stay that way.
I love that answer. That just shows how content you are. And I love that because there's a little bit of gap, but then that also is where the hope and the positivity is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Again, thank you so much
Oh, thank you
for being
Thank
here
you, Sherry.
today. And I love the conversation with you.
Same.
Thank you. The Soft Power Project is produced and hosted by Sherry Fang. For any inquiry, please email us at softpower.u@gmail.com.